Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, Federal High Court Abuja sentences 3 suspects to life imprisonment for abducting students and teachers in Orire local government area of Oyo State, ending the criminal trial. President Tinubu approves expanding the Nigerian military from 8 to 12 divisions, strengthening Nigeria's security architecture and enhancing the Army's operational effectiveness against emerging security challenges nationwide. House passes state police bill as minority caucus walks out in protest, accusing the leadership of violating constitutional provisions and the chamber's standing orders during passage. And U.S. President Donald Trump says Saudi Arabia's civilian nuclear cooperation deal remains subject to the Kingdom normalizing relations with Israel under the Abraham Accords framework. And on business news, Nigeria's private sector pushes back against proposed pension hike, warning that it could drive up business costs and threaten jobs.
On Sports News tonight, the 2026 Commonwealth Games officially begins in Glasgow, Scotland, as Team Nigeria sets to compete in 10 sports events in 11 days of elite sporting action.
And from the nation's capital, stakeholders in Nigeria's electoral process renew calls for the adoption of electronic transmission and transparent collation of election results. We begin tonight at the Federal High Court, Abuja, where Justice Salim Ibrahim has sentenced 3 persons to life in prison over their complicity in the kidnapping of students and teachers of a school in Orire local government area of Oyo State. Justice Ibrahim convicted the sentenced and defendants Abdul Razak Umar, also known as Abu Khalifa Abba Khalid, Yunusa Musa, known as Yunusa bin Musa, and Shamsu Adamu Sani, also known as Abu Itisa, after they pleaded guilty to some of the allegations the federal government leveled against them. Our correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, reports. The 3 suspects arrested by the Department of State Services over their alleged complicity in the recent abduction of students in Orire local government area of Oyo State arrived to Federal High Court Abuja for their arraignment. They were charged with conspiracy, aiding the commission of kidnapping, concealment of information about activities of terrorists, and concealment of information about their abduction. They are also accused of professing to be members of a proscribed terrorist group in Nigeria, among other charges. The 3 pleaded guilty to charges bordering on concealment of information about the activities of those behind the abduction and professing to be members of the terrorist group. Umar, listed as first defendant, is the only one mentioned in counts 7, 8, 9, and 10. He pleaded guilty to all the 4 counts. However, they all pleaded not guilty to counts 1, 2, 3, and 5. In his ruling, Justice Ibrahim sentenced them to a maximum jail term of life imprisonment on count 6 and 25 years on count 4. Also, the judge sentenced Umar to life imprisonment on counts 7, 9, and 10 and gave him 20 years on count 8. The prosecution speaks on the sentence, while the defense was not available for comments.
The sentencing that my Lord opposed today clearly demonstrates the commitment of the judiciary to the fight against terrorism, to show that in our jurisdiction, violent or no violent crimes has no place to stay. So, in all, we are happy with the decision of the court, and we are still using this opportunity to encourage our people that when you see something, you say something. Failure to disclose the activity of your family members and friends that you know are connected to crime is more or less your demonstration of accepting and agreeing with the unlawful activity that they are perpetrating.
The judge set September 16 for the commencement of trial on the charges that they pleaded not guilty. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
And President Bola Tinubu has approved the expansion of the Nigerian Army structure from 8 to 12 divisions, a move intended to enhance the country's security architecture and improve the operational effectiveness of the Nigerian Army. According to the statement from the presidency, this approval for the expansion builds on the administration's sustained investment in the armed forces, including the approval of the recruitment of 28,000 additional personnel, the acquisition of critical military platforms and equipment, improvement in troops' welfare, and ongoing support for operational readiness and force modernization. President Tinubu has also commended the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidu Shaibu, and all officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army for their dedication, professionalism, and steadfast commitment to defending Nigeria's sovereignty and territorial integrity. Over in the Green Chamber, the House of Representatives has passed the Constitution Alteration Bill seeking to establish state police. That's after 311 lawmakers voted in support of the proposal, meeting the constitutional required 2/3 majority. However, the passage sparked protests from members of the Minority Caucus who staged a walkout, alleging that due process was not followed during consideration of the bill. Our correspondent Benny Ark reports.
It's the last plenary of the week as the House of Representatives consider the report of the House Committee on Constitutional Review on the bill seeking to establish state police.
Once again,
The Deputy Speaker, who is the chairman of the House Committee on Constitutional Review, Mr. Benjamin Kalu, led the consideration of the report and urged members to support the bill.
Today's vote, Mr. Speaker, presents us with an opportunity to place Nigeria's national interests above every other consideration and advance a reform that has the potential to significantly strengthen our security architecture, deepen our federal system, and better still, protect the lives and property of our citizens.
The House then proceeds to electronic and virtual voting on the bill.
Based on the motion we earlier passed, allowing electronic voting,
311 members voted in favor of the bill, meeting the 2/3 majority required for a constitutional alteration.
the House and Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Constitutional Review on a bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended to provide for the establishment of state police services and for related matters. And in so doing, approved clauses 1 to 26, the explanatory memorandum, and the long title of the bill.
However, the Minority Caucus disagreed with the procedure adopted for the passage of the bill. Led by the Minority Leader, Mr. Fred Agbedi, the opposition members staged a walkout.
The House and the Committee of the Whole.
From the walkout, the Minority Caucus addresses a news conference stating their support for the bill, but points out the breach of the Constitution and the standing orders of the House.
That the Minority Caucus is not against the creation of state police. We are not against the station of state police. Whatever that is going to remedy the insecurity in this country, as a Minority Caucus, we are ready to support it. But any action taken by the Parliament must follow due process.
Meanwhile, the chairman of the House Committee on Defense, Mr. Babajimi Benson, defends the process.
We had originally passed the bill a couple of weeks ago, right? So the president brought tweaked the bill and added one or two things that are innocuous, right? So, and I believe that passing the bill with the speed of the light is the most patriotic thing to do. And with the fact that we have the majority behind us, including members of Labour Party, and so the people who went are the minority of the minority.
The House also passed a bill to establish the Federal College of Fisheries Technology and Marine Engineering in Rivers State.
Establishment bill for brackish water institutes
And it is just because we do not have such institutes in Nigeria. This will be the only institute that is going to handle our brackish waters, and it's
All
a
right.
need.
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you, Akaraji.
The House adjourned plenary to September 15, 2026. Benny Ark, Channels Television News.
And staying at the National Assembly, the Senate has announced that its National Security Summit will tentatively be held from September the 23rd to the 26th, 2026 in Abuja. The summit, themed Strengthening National Security Architecture in the Changing World, is expected to bring together key stakeholders to deliberate on strategies for addressing Nigeria's evolving security challenges. This resolution, which is subject to the approval of President Bola Tinubu, includes the constitution of 5 subcommittees to coordinate various aspects of the summit. Our National Assembly correspondent Gloria Umezuke reports.
It's another busy day as the Senate reconvene for plenary, with lawmakers first turning their attention to what has become a thorny issue.
Order 97 of the Senate.
The persistent refusal of ministries, departments and agencies and government-owned enterprises to honor invitations from constituted committees.
In blatant disregard of the oversight powers vested in the National Assembly by the Constitution, this persistent non-compliance constitutes a direct affront to the constitutional authority of the Senate, undermines the doctrine of separation of powers and checks and balances.
We must do everything possible in nipping this thing in the bud. We must make sure that we are not induced. We must make sure our place of work is the Senate and oversight. If they cannot come here, we invoke our powers. You see, every day you want to run to Mr. President. Mr. President is President of Federal Republic. And we as legislators, we should do our job and leave the Mr. President alone. We can handle these people and deal with them severely.
We invited some people, they refused to come. And we wanted to invoke the powers of this Senate by summoning or a warrant of arrest. This Senate turned it down.
His comments trigger a chain of reactions.
A situation where we tell head of an agency that a person is a thief and that the entire agency or the entire NMPC is full of fraudsters. And we must also give dignity and respect to institutions that we set up in this chamber. It is only when they falter, like what we are discussing now, then we make an example of them.
The Senate President and I, we signed a truce of no more hostilities. And the Senate President breached the truce by reverting to a previous matter.
The Senate President tenders an apology.
Agreement is agreement. So I assure you, I will never refer to the unsenatorial comment of bringing the man dead or alive. But I want to assure you, I hold you in very high esteem, and I assure you that agreement is agreement.
Lawmakers swiftly moved to address growing concerns of insecurity exacerbated by the bad state of roads in Benue State following the submission of a report by the Senate Committee on Works.
The deteriorated road has hampered the operations of security agencies by delaying emergency response and limiting patrol activities, thereby creating opportunities for criminal elements to operate within the corridor.
Beyond the Oyagede-Ogobia Road, the Senate urged the federal government to rehabilitate at least 2 critical feeder roads in each of the 36 states of the Federation and the FCT to improve connectivity and promote equitable infrastructure development across the country.
A copy of this should be forwarded to the Minister of Works and also the FEMA, the Executive Secretary of FEMA, for immediate implementation.
In the meantime, the Senate has tentatively scheduled a National Security Summit for September 23, 2026 at the Bola Ahmed Tinubu International Conference Center here in Abuja. The summit, themed Strengthening National Security Architecture in a Changing World, will be coordinated by 5 subcommittees and will continue preparations throughout the National Assembly recess period. From the National Assembly, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And in part two, after the break, President Bola Tinubu meets Northeast stakeholders, restates commitment to democracy and the implementation of economic reforms. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, broadcasting live from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Federal High Court Abuja sentences 3 suspects to life imprisonment for abducting students and teachers in Orire local government area of Oyo State, ending the criminal trial. President Bola Tinubu approves expanding the Nigerian army from 8 to 12 divisions, strengthening Nigeria's security architecture and enhancing the army's operational effectiveness against emerging security challenges. House passes state police bill as minority caucus walks out in protest, accuses the leadership of violating constitutional provisions and the chamber's standing orders during passage. And on a foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump says that Saudi Arabia's civilian nuclear operation deal remains subject to the kingdom normalizing operations and relations with Israel under the Abraham Accords framework. Staying with security matters, the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has directed personnel across the country to deal decisively with those bearing illegal firearms under Force Order 327 to end the loss of service personnel when they encounter criminals and to ensure peace is restored in Benue State. Mr. Disu gave this directive at a town hall meeting with Governor Hyacinth Alia in Makurdi, the Benue State capital. And this is part of efforts an operational visit in the state following increased insecurity there.
It is the monthly strategic meeting of the Inspector General of Police with senior officers from the rank of Commissioner of Police and above. 1992. The meeting begins with the decoration of 13 senior officers with their new ranks. The Inspector General of Police charged the senior officers to lead with integrity, shun corruption in order to build public trust and confidence.
Effective policing starts with effective leadership. As commissioners of police and strategic commanders, you are the custodian of public confidence in your commands. Leadership is not measured by the authority you hold. It is measured by the standard you set, the confidence you inspire, and the results you deliver. I expect every commissioner of police to lead with purpose, keep their command operationally ready, and hold officers to standard of professionalism, discipline, respect for the rights of every citizen. Corruption, extortion, abuse of authority, unlawful detention, and any other form of unethical conduct undermines everything we are trying to build.
Done with the decoration, the IGP underscores the importance of leadership as she warns against corruption and unprofessional acts by police officers.
Distinguished senior officers, what we are entrusted with goes beyond running a public institution. We are responsible for public confidence and national stability and the democratic value this republic stands on. As we return to your command, I ask you to turn to this discussion into real, measurable outcomes. Lead with vision, supervise with diligence, hold the line on discipline, back innovation, strengthen your ties with communities and with sister agencies, invest in your people.
I sincerely apologize for that little mix-up. That was IGP with the senior officers of the police force yesterday. But today, he met with the Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State to restore normalcy in the state. To other stories, President Bola Tinubu has restated his own commitment to democracy and the implementation of economic reforms to stabilize the economy. Speaking while receiving a delegation of leaders from the Northeast zone in the country, led by the Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, our State House correspondent Larry Lasisi reports.
The delegation, made up of governors, ministers, lawmakers, traditional rulers and elder statesmen from the 6 northeast states, is here in the State House for a meeting with President Bola Tinubu. The leader of the delegation and governor of Borno State terms it a thank you visit.
We are here for just one overriding purpose: to show our appreciation and thank you most profoundly for the renomination of an accomplished son of our region as your vice presidential running mate in the forthcoming 2027 presidential election. By this decision, you have once again demonstrated your great quality of being a leader who recognizes and rewards loyalty, competence, and commitment. We will continue to mobilize our people to key in to the renewed hope agenda at the grassroots. We are fired up that come 2027, inshallah, the Northeast will massively deliver your ticket and all other APC candidates at all levels.
The delegation also thanks the President for infrastructural development in the region and the rehabilitation of internally displaced persons.
Thank you for being with.
Thanking them for their visit, the President restates his commitment to the economy and to the country.
I hold democracy, consistency, dedication, and steady facts to stabilize the country, the polity, the economy. And one of the greatest aspects of it is the economy. The economy is already stabilized. So many of the governors here present, I want to say thank you very much. I want to charge you to do more.
He adds that stronger collaboration between the federal government and state governments remains essential to defeating terrorism and banditry.
I could see the leadership of Northeast challenged because of terrorism and banditry. I could see our collaboration, that we work together. Only we stick together, we think together, we face the challenges the best way possible as a united country. The golden age is here now. If you can stabilize the economy, Nigerians are not asking for too much. Simple stability, social welfare.
The president expresses his optimism that Nigerians would benefit from the gains of his administration's economic reforms, even as he thanks his guests for their support. From the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
We now bring you details of the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, where he's been directing personnel across the country to deal decisively with those bearing illegal firearms under Force Order 327 to end the loss of service personnel when they encounter criminals and ensure peace is restored in Benue. He gave this directive at the town hall meeting with Governor Hyacinth Alia in Makurdi, the Benue state capital.
Security chiefs from the Nigerian police and other sister security agencies converged on Makurdi, along with traditional and religious leaders, for the town hall meeting with the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Olatunji Disu, following the spate of killings in the state.
Alongside the Inspector General of Police,
Governor Hyacinth Alia is accompanied by Mr. Disu as he arrives for the meeting, which is holding at the old banquet hall of the Government House. Stakeholders raise key concerns about security in the state and questions the failure of the police to arrest the threats.
Whenever there is threat to life, I'd like to appeal to your office and your men that they should please be swift in making arrests.
Have you seen somebody from Benue State moving to another state, even close to set one, Nazareth, attacking them? No. Why is it that the same set of the people keep on attacking. Not just attacking, killing, not just killing, many, not only many, and then they wretch the children. And we know them. And how do you know them?
We, the Benue people, are fully prepared to support whatever efforts you will bring to ensure that Benue returns to where Benue used to be. Peace-loving people, very accommodating, very hospitable people. That's what we're known for.
In his response, the IGP directs police personnel to engage criminals bearing arms.
We have given them necessary instructions. We have a Force Order 237. Police officers have been told they don't need to wait for any superior order. They know when to deploy their firearms. We are tired of losing our men. We are tired of police officers, soldiers, and other members of the security agencies dying anyhow. They have been instructed, they have been trained to do what is necessary. But we know we will not succeed without the cooperation of all of you seated here. I'm aware all the stakeholders who are capable of bringing peace to this state are sitting here. And by the grace of God, I do not want to leave this state today without bringing solution to the problem we have.
To complement the directive, Governor Hyacinth Alia calls for the implementation of state police to help the force to deal with insecurity.
It is no longer a question of do we need state police. It's like something that was required yesterday. A good shift on the questioning should be, how is the state police going to be operational? Because we need the state police.
The meeting ends with a charge for youths in the state to work with the police on intelligence gathering against all forms of criminality.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's private sector pushes back against proposed pension hike, warns it could drive up business costs and threaten jobs across the country. And that's on Business News. Please join us again.
The website channelstv.com has more information on our top stories and others. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. You can also watch us via your smart TV platforms on Apple TV, Android TV, Fire TV, and Roku. Channels Television, ubiquitous.
Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10 on Channels Television. We head to the nation's capital, Abuja, now, where Victoria Longjon is standing by. Over to you, Victoria.
Thank you, Anne. Stakeholders in Nigeria's electoral process have renewed calls for the adoption of electronic transmission and transparent collation of election results as critical steps towards strengthening up the public confidence in elections. Now, the call was made at a roundtable convened by Yaga Africa in Abuja, where election experts, civil society organizations, and political stakeholders examined the future of election results management under Nigeria's Electoral Act. With less than 6 months to the 2027 general elections and 3 weeks to the Osun State governorship election, Yaga Africa is convening this high-level policy roundtable with independent National Electoral Commission and civil society organizations to tackle critical vulnerabilities in Nigeria's election results management system.
INEC has upgraded the IREV, it has upgraded the BVAS. What are these upgrades? The public needs to know. Yes, you go to meetings, INEC talks about this. But often, people cannot just reference speeches that are made, especially when those speeches are not on record. So it's important that INEC puts out, a document that explains the results management regime, political parties. you need to train your agents on this new results management framework.
Participants at this roundtable believe that all hands must be on deck in the efforts to get the nation's electoral process right. The keynote speaker is the board chairman of the Electoral Institute, Professor Abdullahi Zuru, who is also a national commissioner. He highlights the progress made through innovations such as the bimodal voter accreditation system and the INEC result viewing portal.
We've conducted several elections, by-elections, governorship elections since the 2023 election and the incidents that we have. And everybody agrees that there's remarkable improvement in the elections that have been conducted. The recent one just being in the governorship election in Ekiti, the governorship election in Anambra, the FCT elections, and so this is a clear evidence that we have moved on from where we were on these issues.
The position of IPAC has been very clear on this electoral act, and then so many things we disagreed with, but the law is the law, but we will continue to engage until the right thing is done democratically in this country.
The roundtable concludes with participants urging the Independent National Electoral Commission to continue electoral reforms ahead of the elections, with emphasis on transparency, accountability, and the effective use of technology in election result management. And the federal government is advocating a unified approach towards advancing Africa's agenda in the telecommunication ecosystem. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Mr. Bosun Tijani, made the call during the opening session of the 7th Ordinary Session of the African Telecommunication Union Conference in Abuja.
The 7th Conference of the African Telecommunications Union is holding for the first time in Nigeria since its restructuring in 1999. It is a week-long event that allows different organs of the union discuss issues relating to telecommunication, the administration of the union, and the general framework guiding its operations.
Informal statements and goodwill messages from a selection of...
The conference, which will culminate in the election of a new Secretary General, serves as highest decision-making meeting that will outline Africa's digital and telecommunications framework for the next 4 years. First, what is the past 4 years looking like in the industry for Africa?
You, the member states, have charged me with the responsibility of keeping this union together and maintaining its dignity. Since then, we have worked together in many places. We have had the opportunity to engage as far as the union's work is concerned.
Nigeria's Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy throws a challenge to his African colleagues.
During this period, ATU made important progress. Membership has grown to 52 member states. The legal foundation of the union has been strengthened through further ratifications and accessions. The implementation of the 2022 to 2027 strategic and financial plan has advanced alongside expanded partnership in radio communication, standardization, development, and innovation.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who is the special guest of honor, is represented by his Chief of Staff. His position is that Africa should play a key role in the global telecommunication industry.
This preparatory meeting, therefore, carries immense significance. It provides us with the opportunity to build consensus ahead of the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference, particularly regarding Africa's common positions on key policy issues, as well as our collective support for African candidates seeking election to leadership positions in the ITU Council.
This meeting is expected to discuss efforts to harmonize spectrums, secure data flows, and govern artificial intelligence to ensure technological sovereignty for African countries, which is expected to drive down the cost of telecommunication service on the continent.
Meanwhile, the federal government says it has spent about 47 billion naira on the Youth Cred program. The managing director of the Youth Cred program, Mr. Uzoma Wagba, said this at the launch of the Youth Cred for Entrepreneurs program in Abuja, where he revealed that over 300,000 persons have benefited from the scheme so far. On his part, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Taiwo Oyedele, urged the youth to use the loans wisely.
Key ministers driving the economic and financial sectors, as well as youth and women development in Nigeria, have come together to accelerate youth economic development.
And I see that a great program is coming back.
It's the launch for the Youth Cred for Entrepreneurs program, and the Minister of Finance has a message for young people.
But to the youths, remember, credit comes with responsibility. To the young beneficiaries, credit is an opportunity. And it is also a responsibility. Borrow wisely, invest productively, repay on schedule, build your credit history. Your greatest collateral is your integrity.
The Managing Director of Youth Cred and other ministers present highlight key achievements of the scheme.
Think about it. It's a household that now has more purchasing power. Because the best thing you can do for a business is not to give them money, it's to give them customers. So you now have a household that has purchasing power, they then go and buy from businesses. So you're giving businesses customers. And when the businesses grow, they want employing people.
One has to give it and congratulate Mr. President that the disruption that he has imagined is taking hold. And the youth are at the forefront of it.
So whatever we're doing today is in line with Mr. President's declaration of 2026 as the year of family and social development. We all know what can happen when more money goes into the family. It strengthens community, it secures the future of our country.
It is measured by how many businesses that have survived, how many young people can grow, how many young people that can now run their business personally and also employ others.
In this new phase of Youth Cred for Entrepreneurs, this scheme targets another 200,000 beneficiaries. Daily Omoyeni, Channels Television News.
And Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in Cotonou, Republic of Benin, on a high-level working visit accompanied by some state governors and senior officials of the federal government. On arrival, the Vice President was received by the country's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Corinne Brunet, and the Minister of Tourism and External Trade, Mr. Olusegun Bakari. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the Vice President on Media and Communications, Mr. Stanley Nkwocha, says the visit is aimed at strengthening the implementation of Nigeria's Special Agro-Industrial Processing Zones program and drawing practical lessons from Benin's approach to agricultural value addition, industrial infrastructure, investment mobilization, skills development, and export-oriented production. During the visit, the Vice President and members of the delegation will understudy the Glo Jigbe Industrial Zone near Cotonou, where it will engage representatives of the Beninese government, investors, and private sector operators involved in the development and management of the industrial hub. The delegation will also explore opportunities for technology and industrial training, modern machinery, reliable energy systems, common processing facilities, and stronger public-private partnerships. And that's it from Abuja. It's now back to Anne for the rest of the news at 10.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Governor Peter Mbah has called for a fundamental shift in Nigeria's approach to education and development, asking institutions to prioritize experiential learning as a pathway to restoring human dignity and driving inclusive prosperity. The governor made this call on Thursday while delivering the 55th convocation lecture at the University of Nigeria in Nsukka in Enugu State.
And I can tell you, Your Honor, the wealth of nations is increasingly determined by what lies beneath their soil than by what has been cultivated within their citizens. Ingenuity, creativity, adaptability, and capability. What then does it mean to restore the dignity of man in 21st century? I submit that dignity must be measured not simply by political freedom or constitutional rights, indispensable though they remain. It must also be measured by the capability of every citizen to learn continuously, think critically, create boldly, innovate confidently, and contribute meaningfully to society. True dignity exists when people possess not merely the freedom to aspire, but the capability to transform aspiration into achievement, potential into productivity, and possibility into shared prosperity.
Let's now delve into the world of business. Willie Bong is standing by.
Thank you, Anne. And the organized private sector of Nigeria, OPSEN, has rejected a proposal by the National Pension Commission to increase mandatory pension contributions, warning that the move could increase business costs and threaten jobs. The group, which includes the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, NECA, and NASIMA, says the current 18% contribution rate is already adequate and should not be reviewed without proper studies and consultations with stakeholders. It also says businesses are already struggling with high operating costs, rising interest rates, and exchange rate pressures, adding that higher pension contributions could make it harder for companies to create jobs and remain competitive. The group is therefore urging PENCOM to put the proposal on hold until all stakeholders have been consulted and the likely impact on businesses and workers have been fully assessed. Now, the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSEN, prepares to mark its 60th anniversary. The spotlight is on the role of corporate governance in Nigeria's drive towards a $1 trillion economy. Speaking ahead of the celebration in an interview with Channels Television, ICSEN President Uto Upana said attracting and sustaining the level of investment needed to achieve that target will depend on building strong governance structures across both the public and private sectors.
Now, interestingly, over the last 2 days, in partnership with the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, the Institute of Directors Center for Corporate Governance, ICSAN partnered to do a 2-day National Corporate Governance Summit. And the core was actually on this subject. How do we accelerate Nigeria's economic growth, embedding governance? And various speakers spoke about it, and it was implementing. It's not because we don't have policies. It's not because we don't have legislations and various regulations. In fact, we have quite a great number of these. However, implementation is where execution excellence is where we seem to be challenged. Why can't we implement those policies to harness the potentials? We always talk about Nigeria in terms of potentials. And it's because we are not diligent in implementing those policies. So ICSAN is at the core of highlighting this, of supporting professionals, because our professionals are right there.
Now, Nigeria's digital payments industry is stepping up its fight against fraud, leveraging technology to make financial services safer, more reliable, and more inclusive. And that was a key highlight at the OPay Media Parley, where the fintech company showed how innovation is helping protect tens of millions of Nigerians using digital financial services. OPay says its technology is built to solve everyday challenges while protecting customers' money. The platform delivers a 99.9% transaction success rate backed by resilient infrastructure with automatic failover systems that keep transactions running even when one network fails.
In a whole year of 365 or 366 days, if OPay is ever down, it is less than 1 hour in a whole year. Today, when a particular bank starts failing, before they know that their card is failing, OPay is already telling them that their card is failing. It takes round-the-clock addiction to a problem-solving mindset for that to happen.
One of the only banks that will not allow transactions that we believe are fraudulent to come in. They are insured by Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation up to 5 million naira. So it means where banks fail, the same insurance that is covered for commercial banks is the same insurance cover for OPay, for funds in OPay. So funds are secure, funds are insured also, so there's no fear that anyone's money is going to go anywhere.
Now, OPay says technology should do more than make payments easier. It should build trust and expand financial inclusion. The Commission's mission is to deliver secure, stable, and accessible solutions for everyone.
By 2025, we deliver our first-year commitment, 10-year MOU with 20 universities. We sponsor 460 students at that year. We not just stop there. We also have the internship. We also have the graduate programs. We hold that all the students we sponsor, when OPay will have positions and all the things, and then they will come to OPay to do the work and also grow together with OPay as well. Our timeline is that by the end of this year, majority of the state in Nigeria, we will have OPay branded branches so we can provide all the service to the customer who prefer to walk in.
Let's head to the domestic equities markets, which made a rebound today as the all-share index climbed nearly 1%. Here's Sini John Mekwa with the details.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the stock market report. A recovery back again in the market, the NGX, and everybody have their time. So first Holco is a bit quiet today, but Boa Cement is back. Today it gained 14 naira to become the market mover, Boa Cement. We know it had a lot of movement last week, but started recovery at the beginning of this week. So it closed today 324 naira. Look at the sectors, and we'll see more contributors to that. Fugas, yeah. They're about almost 4% the big banking guys. And of course, you can expect first whole call to be part of the factors driving that. Consumer goods is also up 0.63% because of Guinness, Cadbury, Unilever, they gained. And then industrial goods, more than 1% up today, Boa Cement. That's where it belongs. So at the close of trade, 1.575 trillion naira was added to the market cap. So we are back to 159 trillion naira level. In fact, we're close to 160 trillion naira and almost 1% in the green. So we are glad to welcome the bull.
Let's check out the closing numbers for other major stock markets as oil prices topped $100. And that's business news, and Willie Bunk is back to Anne. Thank you, Will. Let's now join Simon Pusey for more international news and around the world from our London studio.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
The US President Donald Trump has said the landmark nuclear deal announced between the US and Saudi Arabia is dependent on Riyadh joining the Abraham Accords, in other words, recognizing the State of Israel. Trump's remarks come after criticism from experts that the deal could run the risk of future nuclear proliferation in an already unstable region. The nuclear issue has been at the center of the months-long US-Israeli conflict with Iran. Yemen's Houthis say they have attacked 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea as the US launched its 12th consecutive night of strikes on Iran. Iranian state media said 2 people had been killed in US strikes on Wednesday, and a tanker caught fire in an explosion in a mined route in the Strait of Hormuz. Ahead of the latest round of strikes, US President Donald Trump had threatened to destroy an Iranian bridge or power plant if Iran attacked a ship in the strait, and to take care of the Houthis if they blocked the Red Sea. If confirmed, the Houthi attack would be the first since the Iran-backed group announced a maritime embargo against Saudi Arabia. Medics say Israeli strikes have killed 5 Palestinians across Gaza as a senior Israeli official said the military now controls 60% of the territory's land, a claim underlining how far the October ceasefire has unraveled. 2 people were killed near Tafah in the north, and a third died in tank shelling in Zaytun, with further strikes on a displacement tent in western Gaza City and a vehicle in Khan Yunis killing 1 person each. The Israeli military confirmed only one of the strikes, saying it had killed a Hamas commander involved in the 2023 attack on Israel. Gaza's health ministry says that more than 1,100 Palestinians have now been killed by Israeli fire since the truce took effect. The Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has killed more than 1,000 people, according to health officials, in what is now the fastest spreading outbreak of the virus ever recorded. Africa CDC Director General said 1,031 deaths had been recorded since the strain emerged in May. Ituri remains the epicenter, with healthcare workers there still striking over unpaid wages even as the outbreak accelerates. About 12,000 people have been evacuated from the southwest of France, and authorities are moving 8,800 others as wildfires spread in the Gironde region. The fire brigade says around 3,100 hectares of land have already been destroyed around the city of Arcachon. Many of those who had to leave the area overnight were visitors to local campsites. Wildfires have also broken out in Spain and Italy in recent days. Residents were evacuated Toledo, south of Madrid, and a firefighter died after falling ill while tackling a blaze.
We are live around the Baptist Seminary, where there is a huge drugs bust.
A huge quantity of cocaine has been seized during a raid on a suspected illegal storage facility near Liberia's capital, Monrovia, in what authorities say is the biggest drugs bust in the country's history.
A very huge consignment is being displayed.
So this is the huge consignment of drugs.
It's nothing touched yet.
Videos released showed dozens of sealed suitcases and boxes, which investigators believed contained high-grade cocaine. Investigators said they had recovered 3,971 kilograms of processed cocaine during the raid, with an estimated street value of more than $317 million. Several people were arrested during the raid in the town around 20 kilometers east of Monrovia.
I think it's great. I think it's interesting.
And a giant nutcracker in Luverne in Minnesota is drawing visitors from across the world. The self-styled nutcracker capital of the world has unveiled Vern the Patriot, a 65-foot nutcracker soldier standing watch over the town in hopes of beating the current Guinness record of 33 feet. Vern was built in pieces in Utah before being shipped in and assembled for a ribbon cutting at the weekend. The town's nutcracker obsession traces back to resident Betty Mann's personal collection of more than 7,500 of them.
I just love that we're doing something big for the community that everybody can benefit from. It's just really fun to be part of something so big, literally big and figuratively big, just big all around. Katie Walgrave, I designed the big nutcracker. We know he's the tallest because he is almost twice as tall as the current world record holder.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. The 23rd Commonwealth has officially begun in Glasgow, Scotland, with over 3,000 athletes from 74 nations competed in the multi-sport event that will conclude on August the 2nd. All eyes will be on Team Nigeria, who will be competing in 10 events with 74 athletes. Nigeria's campaign begins on Friday with its formidable powerlifting team, a discipline that has consistently delivered medals for the country at major international competitions. Team Nigeria finished as the best team in Africa in the last edition, clinching 12 gold, 9 silver and 14 bronze medals. And Barcelona signed forward Karim Adeyemi from Borussia Dortmund earlier today for a reported fee of 29 million euros, including potential add-ons. The versatile 24-year-old is Barca's second signing after they splashed out on England international Anthony Gordon from Newcastle. Lightning quick, Adeyemi bolsters Barca's attacking options after the departure of veteran striker Robert Lewandowski. That's sports. It's back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. Federal High Court Abuja has sentenced 3 suspects to life imprisonment for abducting students and teachers in Orire local government area of Oyo State. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Good night and please stay safe.